I'm going to move on to our scheduled item number 27. This is to consider resolution to find that the safe parking and supported services program located at 2616 First Avenue in Marina qualifies for a Class 1 category exemption of the CEQA guidelines. Here to present is RMA Director Carl Holm, Henry Espinoza, Department of Social Services, and Ms. Suwan.
Good afternoon, Chair Leahy and Board Supervisor members. Thank you for your time. We're here to speak about the Monterey County State Parking and Supportive Services Program, and we have a PowerPoint for some of the information. The background and history is, as we all might recall, this program was created to address the Lapis Road issue and the challenges associated with individuals parking there and in a way that wasn't working for the area. So the individuals that parked had a variety of vehicles, including motorhomes, cars, trailers, and they were parking on the shoulder of the road, and they were sleeping and living in the vehicles. These circumstances created a variety of health and safety concerns with the condition of the road and the county right-of-way. The Monterey County Safe Parking and Supportive Services Program at 2616 First Avenue Marina officially opened on December 15, 2017. Orphan Productions, a 501c3 community-based organization contracted by the county, administers the program. The program provides participants a safe parking space to sleep in their vehicle and offers supportive services such as case management, job search, housing search, and other supports as identified. County safe parking program requirements include that the individual provides proof of Monterey County residency, they have a valid California driver's license and a California vehicle registration, current vehicle registration and insurance, that they agree to work cooperatively with program staff, and that they share the program goals of obtaining housing, a source of income, and access to adequate health care. And there's a development of a plan to save money for future housing, and there is monthly assessment of progress for parking permit renewal. And part of the program includes financial assistance if individuals are unable to meet certain requirements. There is assistance made available to address those concerns. And then I'll ask Lauren to review the service usage and outcomes.
So our current data shows from the program inception, which started in mid-December, through the current data we have is through September. The social worker for the program has handled almost 1,500 phone calls, which have resulted in 41 intake assessments. Those are in-person, face-to-face assessments with the individuals wanting to participate in the program. We've had 27 permits issued. A permit with this data equates to a case, and there can be more than one car, more than one person associated with a number of permits. Since the program start, we've housed 17 individuals and 11 newly employed.
And to bring to your attention that there are several non-county funded programs, state parking programs, and in Pacific Road there are 6 parking spaces, Carmel Valley 8, Monterey 5, and Seaside 5. And all the sites are in religious organization parking lots, and occupancy is near 100% at all times. And the locations are withheld for the privacy of the guests and at the request of the location management. And then moving on to the program operating costs. The original one-year pilot program estimate was $150,000. Fortunately, the costs are coming in lower than that, and the actual program cost for fiscal year 17-18, which was from December of 2017 through June of 2018, was at $62,000. And then there was an amendment to extend the program, well, actually requesting an amendment to extend the program to March 31st. Wanted to provide you, though, with an update for the cost from July of 2018 through March of 19. We're estimating the cost to be a total of $85,000, of which a portion has already been budgeted in this year's current budget that was approved by your board. Today, we're requesting an augmentation of $28,750.65. So the total program cost for the 16 months of service would be $148,000. which becomes or calculates to be $9,250 per month.
And relative to the CEQA, California Environmental Quality Act, and looking at the environmental analysis that was done for this, staff is recommending an exemption, a Class 1 exemption under 15301 of the CEQA guidelines, which is basically for existing facilities. We prepared with consultants, Rincon Consultants helped us prepare an exemption report that helps provide justification why this categorical exemption is appropriate. We also prepared an alternative site assessment. There was a memorandum that was recently issued on November 2nd. One of the things that we've looked at is various alternative sites. Next slide, please. And through that, we look primarily at the county lands. What does the county own? Because as far as being a viable alternative, needs a willing owner, but it also has to meet the objectives and criteria for this program. And the direction that staff was receiving was that we wanted to have something that was in the District 4 Monterey Peninsula area where the Lapis Road issue initiated. Some of the criteria that we looked at when we were evaluating the site was the ability to secure it. It's also from a lighting perspective, from a safety perspective, proximity to services, and what the surrounding conditions are. We identified 3 sites in the former corridor area that we looked at more intensively. That was Engineering Road, Travel Camp, and Wolf Hill. Those are spoken to in more detail in the memo that we released. We also looked at county parks. There are a couple parks that have camping areas, Laguna Seca, San Lorenzo. San Lorenzo didn't meet the criteria, being in South County, so that was taken out. Laguna Seca is under a management agreement, so that was not considered as well. However, we have offered for people to use our Live on Volunteer program in the parks, and we've been able to place 3 people in our parks that are now volunteering, and they provide service for about 30 hours a week in exchange for being able to live within the park area. So in addition to this program, that's also available. The land use for the site has evolved. It's in the former corridor. Started with the Army, went to the Corridor Reuse Authority, who did a base reuse plan. It was transferred to the county. It's county-owned property within the city of Marina boundary. The city prepared what they call the University Village Specific Plan, plus they had their general plan. However, the county is continuing use for county purposes. It's an existing parking lot, and we are proposing basically to continue to use it as a public lot. The initial study was done, or not the initial study, sorry, the categorical exemption was evaluated looking through December 2020, which is a little bit different than the financing, but we were looking at a longer period, recognizing that this area is still developing, and it's going to be many years before the area around where this site is located would actually develop the commercial development that has been planned by the city. So we looked at the baseline of being the current condition that is out there, what is around the site, which are vacated barracks. There's a rock crushing yard across the way. We also, through this process, we reached out to various cities, multiple avenues, city managers meetings. There was some direct contact. We received general interest, but no actual, again, viable site where the owner is willing and it met the criteria and the objectives that we were considering for this. In addition to the cities, we also have had contact with MST and TAMC and various agencies to see if there are other opportunities for this location. This was the only location that we had where we as a county were the willing owner, and so that is the project that was evaluated under CEQA. And at this time, I'd like to offer for Wendy Strimling to come up to speak to some of the issues that were raised in the letter that was sent to the county.
Thank you.
Thank you, Carl. Wendy Strimling, Senior Deputy County Counsel. Good afternoon, board members. As Mr. Holm mentioned, the county received a letter from Marina Community Partners yesterday. We want to address a couple of those issues. First of all, staff has addressed the issues relating to CEQA. Staff has found that there is substantial evidence to support a categorical exemption under 15301, which is exempts the category of operation, repair, maintenance, permitting, leasing, licensing, or minor alteration of existing public or private structures involving negligible or no expansion of use beyond that existing at the time of the lead agency's determination. One of the issues is what was the baseline, and I mean, even if you consider this parking lot prior to the starting of the safe parking program, it was allowed parking in a parking lot, in a public parking lot. That's what's happening now. So we believe that there is substantial evidence to support the categorical exemption. Second of all, Marina Community Partners argue that the county has now conceded in the RINCON report that the City of Marina's general plan, specific plan, and zoning apply to safe parking, the safe parking program. Actually, we wanted to clarify that Marina Community Partners' interpretation is incorrect. The law is well settled that the county is exempt from the city's building and zoning regulations and its general plan. This is based on uncontradicted case law, which interprets government code sections 53090 and 53091. Based on principles of intergovernmental immunity, cities and counties are exempt from each other's building and zoning regulations. Therefore, the county's position is and remains that the county is not subject to the City of Marina's general plan, specific plan, or zoning. However, to the extent perhaps the RINCON report was not clear on this point, leading to Marina Community Partners' misunderstanding, we would suggest addition of one sentence to that report on page 12 under the heading Land Use and Planning Impacts Resulting from the Program. And the sentence I would suggest reads as follows. The project is a county program on county-owned land within the City of Marina. Therefore, the city's general plan, University Village's specific plan, and zoning are not applicable to this program, and county is not required to obtain city permits or amendments to city's plans. However, for purposes of disclosure, this report provides this consistency analysis. And we hope that then creates, clarifies whatever misunderstanding.
And we'll entertain a motion that would, in the future, to include that specific language you just read.
Thank you.
That way we don't have to repeat it.
Thank you.
Okay, other now questions? Any other parts of your presentation?
A little bit more to present.
Okay, go ahead.
So I'll continue. To recap, we're looking to amend our request to extend the program through March 31st, 2019. The environmental analysis assessed the current site as indicated through December 1st, 2020. Should this program be extended beyond March 31st of 2019? And that the intention is after or during this time frame would be for the Department of Social Services to work with the current vendor, the current contractor, to apply for homeless emergency aid program funding to extend the funding beyond that date for this type of program. And to summarize, the recommended actions is to find that the Safe Parking Supportive Services Program located at 2616 First Avenue in Marina qualifies for a Class 1 categorical exemption. Approve the amendment number 1 effective November 30th, 2018, and extend the operation of the Monterey County Safe Parking and Supportive Services Program through March 31st of 2019. And authorize the Director of the Department of Social Services to sign up to 3 amendments. And the details are spelled out. And then also to increase the appropriations in the department budget for the items as they're listed. And the one question that's left for your board is the funding source that is indicated in the board report, whether it be cannabis contingencies or county general fund contingencies.
Because we took this up at our budget committee without the recommendation. He said yes. Supervisor Parker and I said either or. We take a motion today.
We're ready for questions.
Okay, so now we will start with questions. I think Supervisor Phillips is ready to
Yeah, I just had a couple, but are most of the vehicles coming in there, we've been checking with your office, but I understand most of the vehicles coming in are cars, not the SUVs or the motorhomes.
That's true. Currently, it's about 80/20.
And what's the average number of people, of a unit coming in there, a family unit coming in there each night?
Families have used the law. It's less frequent that it's families. More often, it's couples or individuals.
And like how many?
So the most recent records of the last 2 weeks or so, the cars ranged between 6 to 14 cars. That is about 10 to 15 people.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, Supervisor Williams, Supervisor Adams.
Thank you. Yes, I'm just out of curiosity, if nothing else, if you could tell me the parks where the people have been able to utilize the living situation.
Toro Park and Jack's Peak Park.
It's great, 2 at one and 1 at the other.
Correct.
Okay, thank you very much.
Supervisor Parker.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. And just, I do have figures for last week. There are 6 families permitted in the lot currently. That was up through November 2nd. And vehicles permitted are 18. And number of people, yeah, anyway, so it's a good mix of people. The question I had was, you mentioned, Mr. Holm, that the development that is happening in the general area of the coastal office there is it's progressing, but there's a significant amount of time before the development gets very close to where this parking lot is. Would it be possible for staff, when you come back with your next update on this, to look at what a kind of a reasonable trigger might be in terms of the progress of the development to, if we're going to extend this and it continues to be as successful as it's been, we might want to continue it a little longer, but it might be helpful for Marina Community Partners and the City of Marina to have some sense for when we would think about perhaps moving to a different location. Would it be possible?
Okay. Yes, ma'am, we can do that.
Great, thank you.
And then I can add to the first, Supervisor Parker, your comment about the families. 6 has been the total number that have been served since inception. And the total of persons served since inception of the program is 40 individuals.
Okay, it's not the way it's written on this report, but thank you.
Supervisor Parker always reads her memos. Okay, let's see here. Is there somebody from Marina Partners, Community Partners? City Marina? They sent us a letter yesterday, and so I want to give them an opportunity before I open it to comments from the general public to address on record any legal issues they may have. And when I speak, they were at the budget meeting last week, going once, going twice, okay? We're not going to open it for comments from the public. We're going to go, I have a few speaker cards. We're going to make comments in 2 minutes. This is Michael Fector, then Michael Williams, and then Marie Claire, and Arzio Russell. We'll go with those first four folks.
Thank you to the county first for such an accurate representation of the program. And thank you to the board for allowing us to exist for the past year. I'm the program director for One Star Fish. And to be honest, the program's been much more successful than I would have imagined. The only thing I'm sad about is that so many people need the program. It would be a very, very happy day for me when we go out of business. Unfortunately, we have more demand than ever. We certainly could double our size today. We have a waiting list. We're just sorry that so many people do need us, but I'm very, very grateful primarily to the county and to the caseworkers that have held the hands of people I mean, really, and you'll hear from some of them today, just really decent people that have fallen on hard times. When you are living paycheck to paycheck like I did when I was a stand-up comedian, before marrying over my station, things can get very hard when you miss a number of paychecks. I'd also like to point out one statistic. My wife has a PhD in statistics. I mention this all the time because I don't know how that ended up with someone smart. But our statistics are showing that in this county program, 80% of the guests are working full-time. Okay, so almost everyone's working. The rest are fully disabled, usually from physical disabilities. And they're just priced out of housing right now. A lot of them come to us with educational debt. They study philosophy or political science like myself, and so they're unemployable. No, I'm teasing. But yeah, people come to us with educational debt, they come to us with medical debt, and that's the reason they're not housing. Again, thank you all so much.
Trying to do a jumbo for you as a former stand-up comedian, but I couldn't do it. All right, Michael Fechter.
The other Michael.
Williams.
There you go.
Hi, I was here last time before you guys, and personally, the Starfish program is needed. It basically should be bigger. You guys really do need to fund it. I'd be one of those disabled people. I just recently had back fusion, 3 disc sacrum. So that put me out of work, and the program has put me up in various motels. They put me up in the Vets Park up in Monterey, where I can put my bed out so I can lay out, basically, because sitting in the car is not working like that for my back to heal. I've been on the program 5 months. I park in the parking lot that you folks are talking about. It's quiet, it's peaceful. I sleep pretty well down there, actually, so it's a safe place. Could it be better? Yeah. Could be more outlets in the county? Yeah, there could be. But for what you got going right now, this is a great start, and it needs to continue being funded by this council. So basically, my thanks to the program. Thank you guys for really helping me, because I'd be in a world of hurt if I didn't have you guys' support. So thank you guys very much for letting me speak.
Thank you, Mr. Williams. Next, I have Marie Claire. And then after that, I have Trisha Liver, and then Dorian Manuel, and then Hope Tadema.
Good morning, board. My name is Marie Claire. I was on hospital, that I'm joining almost in here. I was here last time off the cuff, speaking to the importance of allowing us to grow as we're struggling, as has been testified for us on our behalf here. My story is a little bit unique. I've come to find in a purview of the environment. At current, I was a foster kid in this county because my mother, who was a lawyer in this county, had an alcohol issue. And when I was 12, I pulled up the Pacific Grove Police, and they took me to Salinas. And it was a better decision. However, I thought that my BA in pre-law, social work, psychology, and human communication was going to lead to helping. I'm too sensitive. So I'm taking my scholarship to school again. And I hear these words every day. I used to work with some people on the board here. And excuse me for getting emotional. But what astounds me more than anything else about this population is a lot of you guys would never know when you see us in the grocery store. A lot of you guys would never know if I didn't show up here with makeup and an outfit. Or just like sweatpants, you would think I was just like maybe tired. But one of the most amazing things is I get to go park my car and sleep somewhere safe every night. That's not an easy thing when you're a single young woman. There's a lot lot of circumstances that I attested to last I was here about the dangers that was Lapis Road for young women. I don't have to deal with that. I don't have to worry about my little 3-pound baby dog and I having to encounter issues. So I see I'm thinking on time, and I do respect the understanding of time in this body, but I do just want to give that contextual understanding that not all of us are in the same category, but we're all trying to survive and grow. Thank you.
Thank you, Mary Claire. Tricia Lever. And Dorian Manuel.
I was on the street for over 17 years, and it wasn't something I chose, but I channeled St. Francis of Assisi and Yeshua, who you know as Jesus and God and all masters, and I do have a manuscript that's a way life self-reading manuscript. And Francis sent me back to Minnesota, but I was thinking about going back there after my mom passed, because my money would go a lot further back there. And I had a very interesting experience, and then he asked me to come back out here and promised me 3 or 4 rooms, which never materialized, and I became homeless for over 17 years. And it's a long story, and you don't have the time to hear it right now. But after being on the street, probably in 2012, I met Michael and Tia at the homeless Sunday church in Monterey, across from Ackland's on the Bay. And I was between RVs at that time. And I was in a little Honda bread box with my cat Mooey, my one remaining cat. I came back from California with 5. And I hadn't had a shower in 8 days. And how that happened is somebody hit my RV and it had to be totaled. And so I ended up really in the spot. And the first thing Michael did is offer me a shower. And he left me in his home while I was showering, and I was shocked that he would trust me that far. But over the years, when they reinforced the ordinance in Pacific Road, it became very difficult to park on the street. I don't drink, I don't smoke, I don't do drugs or any of those things, and pretty much now I eat nothing but organic. But it's been a wild experience, and when Tia started the Starfish program, it took her 2 years to implement it. And at the end of 2 years, starting these parking lot programs, and I ended up at the Butterfly Methodist Church, it was a wonderful relief not to be harassed, abused, and so on and so forth. And my experience there was quiet, and there was no problems, except that people would see us park there, and they think they could park there also. But Tia and Michael have been such a support to people like me and others for a long time in many arenas. And it's really important that people, when they are on the street, have this kind of help. And I don't know if anybody has any questions, but it was a godsend to me, and I had found other people that needed this kind of help, and they became part of the program.
Thank you, ma'am. Appreciate it. Dorian Manuel. The last speaker, Carter Hope Tadema.
Thank you for this forum, Board of Supervisors. It's wonderful to be here. My name is Dorian Manuel. I am the case manager for the County Safe Parking Program, and I started in this position in July, and since that starting date, I personally have seen 5 cases of this program get into permanent housing, and many more than that get into full-time work or expand their income through other means such as Social Security. Currently, we have we've changed the permitting process for it to be more transparent. We have 18 permits, so 1 per vehicle, that are allowed at the lot currently, and that includes 20 adults that are able to stay at the lot every night. 14 of them are currently employed. 5 of them collect SSI or SSDI, and 1 is unemployed. During the totality of our time running this program so far, we've had over 18 people get into housing and 12 gaining employment. Having some guests meeting with me as often as twice a week, just banging out job application after job application. There's one guest that just got hired into the field that he was trying to get into after meeting with me twice a week, and we would get 10 or 12 applications in every week. And he's just ecstatic to be able to do that. I'm sure he would be here if he was not at work right now. But I'm very grateful for the time we've had being able to run this program, and it's been a real privilege to be able to work with the people that I do and do the work that I do. And I really hope that y'all are willing to see this program through and continue to help the people that need it in your county, as you've done for so many years. Thank you for your service.
Thank you for that. Thank you for that amazing work as well. Okay, hope to Damon. And then anyone else who would like to speak on this item.
Thank you to the board for welcoming input. My name is Hope Tadima. I worked at a job for 18 and a half years. I was laid off. I had tried to prepare for that eventuality by earning extra degrees while employed, but it didn't help me. I was unable to find work. My industry left. I lost my house 13 years. I became homeless. I stayed in the safe parking program for 6 months. During that time, I attended full-time retraining that I won through EDD for displaced workers. I really don't know how I could possibly go through intensive HTML and programming training if I didn't have a safe place to sleep at night. I have to be awake. So I think the safe parking program kept me from becoming trapped in a cycle. I was able to complete my certificate, and I so appreciate the funds, the training, the time. I do support this program. Thank you for your attention.
Thank you for your comments. Now, anyone else who would like to speak on this item?
Yes.
Hi, OSY Salinas resident, Salinas Monterey County Homeless Union. Of course, it's much needed, this RP program. I hope the safe parking program passes unanimously, that'd be great. I think it's kind of easy actually. There's so much need. I think we should be able to just say some minimal standards. Your site is organized, and you're not publicly intoxicated. You know, I think those are two pretty good initial points to just be like, okay, well then we're not really going to get people trespassing because you're just trying to survive, and we can understand that. You know, and if they're not compliant, then, you know, root them out. But I think if we at least made some policy that allowed people to exist, regardless of whether or not they can pay rent, I think that would be one of the most conceptual policy decisions you could make to enforce, to just allow people to exist. Because to me, I've already got a safe parking program going. The same RV setup that you pushed out, that Salinas pushed out, that I'm still trying to survive. And, you know, it's free. They got it all in a row. They got everything, you know, in the trash in piles and bags and ready to go. They've actually done their own dump runs because of illegal dumping. We've asked the county, but they don't want to encourage the behavior. But, I mean, we're just trying to cooperate, you know, and that's, I would think that would be something manageable that mature people could understand and relate to, and actually try to help, you know, scaffold. I mean, we are the bigger, older brothers here in the county. You know, you should take care of your people better. And I know it's easy. Just a couple simple things. Your site's organized, and you're not drunk in public, or, you know, and really, what else are they doing that's illegal other than just surviving? We should be able to accommodate that.
Anyone else?
And it'd be free.
Anyone else? Seeing that, we're going to close public comment. We're going to now bring this back to entertain a motion and for additional comments and questions from the board of supervisors. Supervisor Phillips.
You know, initially I wasn't in favor of this program only because I thought it was too small, being that it's only about 15 or 18. You had the limited time where the people had to come in after 7 and be out by 7. And I think it hasn't brought in a lot of the Lapis Road people that we were looking to bring in. And at the location, I had a question about it, but in fairness, there was no other place presented. I mean, you tried to do something at the MST lot that we thought was a good idea. Marina likes to come and tell us how they can help us deal with our homeless and Salinas, but anytime you try to talk about anything even within 50 miles of Marina, they're going the other way. Tansy has a location there that's possible, but it's actually closer to the development area that would even bring more flack. If anything, I think we need to expand the program. I'd like to see it accommodate 40 or 50 for a longer period of time. I think the location, if eventually we ever relocated some of the services there, is ideal. It's got the parking lot in front, it's got the parking lot in back, it's surrounded by the barracks, but they're fenced-in barracks. It should be supported by all the cities on the peninsula, including Marina. And you have the social services modular building there. And I think it would redirect the traffic and roads coming in and out, so it would have almost a de minimis impact on the businesses and the residents that are anywhere in juxtaposition. And I do think one of the ideas was brought up about, I mean, maybe I can see it may not be an ideal location once Marina Partners or Marina Community Partners really develop that area, but that's 8 to 10 years down the road, and by that time hopefully we'll have enough money to build something like we're doing in Salinas in Nevada. So I'm support of the project. Like I said, I'd like to see us expand it and do it better and bigger. And you look at the building there and the locations, and once you go and look at it, you can see that it has some viability, access coming from Imgen and from the big one coming in. So I'd make a motion to approve.
Thank you, Judge. And would your motion include the additional language I was read earlier?
It would. I would look, at least my thought was to pay it out of cannabis money, but that was just me.
Okay, so it also includes from cannabis money?
Yes.
Okay. Those two clarifications from the cannabis funding account, and then also to include the language that Ms. Sternling read earlier to be included. Supervisor Salinas?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Certainly just want to be brief. I think Supervisor Phillips laid out something that I could support also. Obviously, this is at a small scale, but I mean, unless other jurisdictions step up and really help us find other sites, this might be where we can look to for the foreseeable future to see if we can expand it maybe if it fits. But certainly this is the minimal that we can do right now for this issue that we're facing. But and certainly support the motion that Supervisor Phillips made.
And so you seconded it? Okay.
Thank you. I'd like to speak to this because I too really support the program. I love the idea of expanding it. However, I would prefer that the money come from the current year contingencies rather than having it come from cannabis. It hasn't been noticed. It's just, another, bite after bite after bite. So my esteemed colleague who made the motion and my other esteemed colleague who seconded it would be willing to have the money come from the current year contingencies. I would be far more likely to vote for this.
Okay, Supervisor Parker?
Thank you, Mr. Chair, and I appreciate the support for this program. As has been said, it's been very successful. It's a small step in a big need, but I think it's a very solid program, and we've heard from people expressing appreciation for just the fact that they have a place where they truly can fall asleep at night. They don't have to worry about being moved along or harassed or anything else that might happen. So it's just so basic to have a safe place to sleep. And I really, also, it's clear that this program has gotten the attention of people in the community. The fact that they are getting phone calls from people who aren't in the parking program itself, but who are aware that these folks are a resource connecting people to job training and possible housing resources. It's just obviously something that's very much needed and quite successful. And of course, we also, I haven't heard of any complaints. It's been really a very quiet and trouble-free thing. So I appreciate the motion in support. I appreciate my colleagues' support, and I would encourage all of you to look in your district for locations where you might be able to host a similar program. It really makes a difference in the community. It's trouble-free and really gives people an opportunity to pull their lives and their resources together and be successful. So thank you. And I too would prefer the general fund contingency. I don't have strong feelings about it. We did discuss it briefly at the budget committee, but I do think this is kind of a general county need, and so I would lean towards the general fund contingency.
And just on that point, I support the current motion as is with cannabis, and even the contingency. Most of what we put in contingency was cannabis money, if we remember our budget, is not too long ago. So either one, they're both cannabis dollars. But anyways, I want to say for the record, and I want to give an opportunity as chair to give Marina Community Partners to come speak, and I was going to give them some additional time to, for the record, raise any concerns outside of their letter, and they didn't send it to me, and I'm sure they're watching from afar. But I also hope that if this is reviewed by a court, that the court hear the comments of the people who spoke earlier about what a difference it's making in their lives. You hear from that caseworker who's helping people not only have a safe place, but also helping them with employment opportunities and housing opportunities. Because many times people say, nothing's happening on homelessness. Each one of those persons who serve to get a job or to get out of living in a car or vehicle and into housing, those are all the successors. Just one of those makes this all worthwhile. But as Supervisor Parker said, I also, when we had our budget hearing, we heard, has there been complaints, how's it been working? We haven't heard of any issues. I think you mentioned somebody left a mattress there, but it was somebody who wasn't participating in the program, leaving their garbage behind. But we want to tell the community, our programs are working well. And the statements by our public about how it's working, how it's making a difference in their lives, I hope our courts take that to heart, because there's not easy answers. These are hard, they're very difficult, and every time you want to cite some program to help our homeless residents, there's always opposition. We all know, and I want to put this in context, we're having one of the worst homeless crises in the history of our country, probably since the Dust Bowl there. I think 25% of all homeless residents in our nation live in California. We have a significant homeless population here in our state. And it's so critical that our county declared, not once, but I think twice now, a homelessness crisis, so that we could hopefully act quicker and do it under this urgency that people's lives are on the line, their health is on the line, and their safety is on the line. And so that's why we have to move expeditiously to try to enact these kinds of programs. We saw that when we had the unorganized and the unauthorized parking on places like Lapis Road, we had a wide host of public health and public safety issues, whether it was traffic on those areas, whether it was trash, whether it was a lack of restrooms, a wide range of things that really posed some serious issues. Then we had some agricultural fields nearby, so that posed a food safety issue, and so a lot of farmers were concerned about that also. We did look at a lot of different places, but we know that this is a county property. If we were to try to acquire another property, it's a longer process to purchase, to permit a property that's not in county hands. Seek was much longer. We needed to act very quickly. There's also been some court cases that have limited enforcement when there isn't any other services for homeless residents to go to, whether it's a shelter or with a safe parking program. We also take that into account, and we're making these decisions that the court has put restrictions to enforce when they're not actively trying to have these types of programs that we are committed to in the county, even during tough budget times. And I do want to say that even if, just like our shelter that we're trying to have on a permanent basis in Salinas, even this safe parking program, it's only the beginning. We need to do a lot more. We need to have more of these throughout other parts of the county. We need to have other shelters throughout the county. We're working on those, but this is just the work that we're beginning, and we're glad the legislature, the governor made this a priority. We're making it a priority. We look forward to having those resources to do more to continue to better serve our homeless residents and hopefully get them off cars and off living on the street, but to secured housing, get services, get their employment, and get the other services that that they deserve. Last thing I want to say to Marine Community Partners, I really took offense. There's always opposition when I ask them where are the other sites. They mentioned a few, but like everything, not in my backyard, move it somewhere else. And in this case, they're concerned about this location being near abandoned, vacant buildings that haven't been torn down in many years. We're not talking about neighborhoods that are nearby. These are abandoned buildings on the former corridor that haven't been torn down for a very long time. And I would rather have businesses or people with concerns be part of the solution, don't be part of the problem by just saying, do it somewhere else, not here, or there. And we're always constantly in this situation. Be part of the solution. As Simone likes to say, we need more Yimbys in Monterey County. Yes, in my backyard. Let's make it happen. And so this is the same. This is in the face of some opposition. This is a commitment by this board to do the right thing for homeless residents. And again, with that commitment that we're just starting, there's going to be a lot more, even as we extend this program, to do a lot more to help our most vulnerable in our community. With that, Supervisor,
just two things. I think our contingencies are so deflated right now. My motion stands on going on there on. And I would think, I'd like to see the Marina Community Partners sit down and work with us a little bit, especially if we have this, like we were talking about, if we have this location until we're able to build a permanent location and they were partnering with us, it makes complete sense. But as you said, when you go to that location, you see it's surrounded on all sides by abandoned barracks that are fenced in, and on the other side by the cement, break up the cement factory. I mean, it's not impacting anyone.
Okay. There's no further comment. We have a motion and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All those against? Any abstentions? Okay, motion carries unanimously.